Welcome to the Red Dice Diaries. It's Sunday midday-ish here in the UK. It's a bit foggy outside, so I've been watching some YouTube videos, and one that particularly caught my attention was Same Old G's video, A Player's Mind. I'll put a link to that down below in the description of this video. And in it, he references one of Tim Harper's old videos. I think it's going back to the misty, murky depths of 2011, where Tim talks about GM disease or GM syndrome. And again, I'll put a link to his down below. Now, I remember Tim's videos being one of the first that I watched that really struck a chord with me when I first started producing video content myself. And it talks about, as Same Old G does, the difficulties of readjusting to a player mindset once you've been sort of cast in that role as a DM or a GM, whatever you want to call it. And this is something I find a lot myself, since I've far more experience with being a GM. Initially, when I started gaming, I was the GM because, as Tim says in his video, I was the one who had the rule books and understood the rules and was willing to give it a go. And ever since then, I've just sort of naturally fallen into that role of I'm the one who has a reasonable proficiency with GMing a game. And I do wonder, as Tim does in his video, whether this makes the experience of just putting that aside for one moment and just being a player even more difficult. Since I certainly know for myself that when I'm a player in a game, and don't get me wrong, I do enjoy being a player in a game. I'd love to actually play more games. However, I do find that as someone who's mainly a GM nowadays, and well, for most of my role-playing life, to be honest, you tend to deconstruct things in your mind as they're occurring in the game and sort of compare it to how you might have done things as a GM, or you either look at stuff and you think, well, it's obvious that this is happening because the GM wants this to occur or because they're trying to achieve this effect. And in a way, I suppose, you're sort of so busy analysing it in your mind that it almost takes a bit of the fun out of it. As Same Old G says in his video, it's like you've peeked behind that curtain and you've seen the great and mighty Oz is just a small man with a projector. It just takes a little bit of the shine and a little bit of the magic off. This isn't to say that you can't still enjoy games as a player. I enjoy 99% of the games that I play in. However, it does just sort of tarnish or just sort of rub the edge off that little bit of magic. And it's not a very easy thing to find a solution to. I've still not found the solution to it myself. And as Same Old G says in his video, I would love to be so fully immersed in a long-running game that I completely forget about all my GM leanings and put all of that out of my head and can just concentrate on being there as a player and fully enjoying it. However, it's certainly in a long-running game that allows me to completely forget my GM mindset. And that's no slight on any of the GMs who are running games that I'm playing in at the minute. And I don't really have any solution to offer as to how that can be achieved. So I was wondering, for you guys out there, particularly if you've been a GM for a long time, or you GM as much as you play or whatever, or perhaps if you're one of the lucky few GMs who's been somehow able to cast off that sort of overcoat of GM ideas when you go into playing a game. How do you do that? What would you out there in the community recommend for someone like myself, who has been mainly a GM for many years and finds it a little difficult to set down that mantle when they're settling into actually just playing a game? I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say on the subject. Many thanks to Same Old G for putting out his video, since it not only did it cause me to think a great deal about this myself, but it also reminded me of Tim Harper's original video, which, as I said, was one of the videos I very much enjoyed when I first started. And that's one of the great things about these video responses, as far as I'm concerned. Not only the fact that it gives you some more information, more things to think about, more talking points, but it can also refresh your memory about videos, channels, etc., that you've either not experienced or that you've maybe forgotten about or not looked at for some time. So hopefully, if you've enjoyed this video, or if you have any comments, I'd love to hear what you have to say on this subject. As I say, I don't have any foolproof solution myself. I'm very much still looking for a solution. So any advice people have or any opinions, please either, as always, hit me up in the Google Plus links or leave a comment in the box down below. Or if you feel inspired and you have the necessary time and the equipment to do so, I'd love to see some video responses based on this, to hear what advice you offer out there in YouTube land on how to overcome this GM syndrome, as Tim called it. So thanks very much for listening and for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. You'll click on like and subscribe. You can do that by clicking on the red dice up there. Until I see you next time, thank you very much. Happy gaming.